Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Sadie, if you can hear me, please let me know before I start. I want to keep it brief. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You can hear me now. We have to come on live. It's to advocate, to support the new awakening of civil society in the Gambia. And that's Gala for the moment. This is going to be a new beginning for a new awakening. We are seeing something that is showing all signs of progressiveness, all signs of bringing about change in the Gambia. We have to show leadership, and the youths have shown leadership. I'm using the term the youths because the majority people on the ground are youths. I'm not saying that everybody involved are only youths. But I want to keep it brief. I want to keep it brief because we are having an opportunity here now to bring about a meaningful change in the country. This should not rest. This should not rest with just demanding the release of the innocent young protesters. It's not rest on that. It's not rest on waiting for this government that we know that they are not ready to be transparent. They are not ready to be held accountable, to bring out any form of mediation or any form of releasing documents that we know is going to be forgery. And we have no confidence and trust in the National Assembly. It is a beginning. And it is a beginning. That's why we should all sacrifice by all means necessary to make sure we have a successful civil society movement in the Gambia. This is not about any individual. This is about Gambian people against a corrupt system that is killing them. And we have to call it period. Gambia, we were part of the progressive nations at the time of independence that had unions, leaders. We had unions, we had civil society movements. It's documented in our history. We have the Edward Francis Smalls. We have the JFS and others that in fact nurtured most of the political actors we have seen in our history. We should return back for the stability of this country, for the progress of this country. We have to support and come out in solidarity with the movement. The new movement, civil society movement, not to be disintegrated for any other reason, and make sure we bring about change, now. I will tell you one thing. For my security background, all they're doing now, they are trying to de-escalate. They are not giving you your freedoms. They will never give you your freedoms because they cannot handle the truth. I am advising based on my security background. They know that they are standing at a very weak point. And this is now we keep the momentum. United we stand, divided we fall. It's enshrined in the National Pledge. It's enshrined in the National Pledge. They are strategizing right now to de-escalate. And once they de-escalate, they are going to continue their divisive politics. They are going to continue to marginalize us. According to group, according to sex and whatever it is, in order to maintain power. Let me start. Just take a brief. I've put note certain points here. Let me start one with leadership. I always said this. Gambia has it. Gambia has it to bring about change again and again and again. We did it before, and it was based on leadership. And when I emphasize leadership, it's not about the political leadership. It's leadership of our society itself, the entire leadership within society. And the youths have shown it. Overnight, the youths have come together. Overnight, the youths have come together. To do what? To unite the nation. Of our political differences, of any tribal mechanism being put within our people, to bring back the Gambia. That's why we should raise the flag and stand by the flag. The youths have shown that leadership overnight. The youths that congregated, the youths that started, they all came from different political platforms. They come from the different political ideologies. They come from different tribes. They come from different religions. But one thing bound them together, the Gambia. And that's a shining example. As they start this, and we should not allow the security forces, we should not allow these politicians a breathing space to try to come out to undermine us. We should keep this momentum. It's all about inclusiveness. It's all about leadership. It's all about a meaningful change. We should not stop now. We should keep this momentum. The people against the corrupt system. Again, as I said, security in numbers. Security is numbers. Let's learn our lesson. Let's learn our lesson, and I will reference Senegal. When Macky Sall was cornered in March, he came out and gave promises. What did he do? He went and rearmed himself. He went and took the billions of Senegalese CFA to put it, in recruiting, vagabonds and bandits. Something that even the security forces could not do for him. He recruited vagabonds and bandits to go out there to disrupt the movement. We should learn our lesson from there then. Security in numbers. Gambia, we are unique. We did not drive the dictator because we have arms. We did not drive the dictator because anything else. We drove the dictator out of our uniqueness of Gambians, coming together, standing together in solidarity. And that's uniqueness of Gambians we are aspiring for now and asking for now and advocating for now to make sure we support the civil society movement, awaken movement, and to be inclusive and bring about change. We need to organize and escalate for a meaningful change. We need to organize better. It's a start. We need to be inclusive. We need to be organized. We need to be strategized. That's why I am out here today. I have reached out to many Gambians now in the diaspora, Gambian platforms, the Barrow Must Go, and any other platform for that matter, part of the civil society. Let us not see any political difference right now. Let's see the means of change. Let's not guide our actions for the common good. The means of change, because this government is not in position, not ready to, and will never able to bring about change that we need. The corruption does not only stop with the loots of from the Jammeh former assets. The corruption goes to the COVID and every other thing. The corruption goes to the president taking our asset, building a multi-million dollar retirement home when our hospitals, our people are dying daily. People are dying daily in the hospitals. These are all things we need to advocate for. We should not stop now. It's a start. It's a new awakening. But the end means is to bring meaningful change. And I keep on emphasizing meaningful change, not change for the sake of change. We are not advocating for that. They should not be going back home. People should not be going back home until we get the entire Gambia to come out and form a national conference that will bring about transitional change. Now, we need our transition back. We need to reset the button, and we have the opportunity. I said it before. Who said Gambians can't do it? Be proof to the nation. The only country that have removed a dictator without ending to a civil war. The only country that went through a ballot box and removed a dictator. We are unique. We have it. And that leadership have come about through the movement of youths. We have to accept when people step up and this thing, our disunity our disunity was the strength of the Barrow government. That's why they keep on calling different tribes to the State House. That's why they keep on bringing different religious groupings. That's why they keep on taking money and giving it to non-entities to sell their souls, because they have nothing credibility. It's only their meat and blood and flesh that's left of them. Sell their souls to abandon the people to join them. The government is the weakest government we ever had. We need to organize and escalate for a meaningful change. And I am calling onto the diaspora. I am happy that everything started from the ground. Because another division is dividing the diaspora from the Gambians on the ground. Saying, oh, it's a diaspora-led. The government is silent at the moment because they don't know what is coming out. This is the Gambian people asking for their rights. Gambian people asking for change. Gambian people marching forward in unison to bring about change for our future. Something our founding fathers will be proud of. Something that we can pass on to our future generations better than what we have inherited from our founding fathers. It's time for change. The entire sub-region is going to change. The entire sub-region is going to change. We have to be in the forefront of change. Gambia is a sophisticated nation. We should not allow non-entities, ungrateful people to lead us. It's an insult to any Gambian. Whatever you achieved and looked at your government and turned around to say that these are your representatives, it's an insult to us. They don't represent us. They have no consent. They don't have the consent, to lead us. We should remove that. They don't have the legitimacy to rule us. We should remove that. We should call for any meaningful anything. We should put everything and escalate it on the table, and we can only do that by organizing. We should call for total change. Let us not relent. Let us not allow any. If any council of elders come out there, they have no credibility. They are not representing us. If any council of imams come out there, they have no they are planning all this. They have planned all this. They knew. President Barrow knew where he took us. That's why he took his brother-in-law. It's a criminal joint enterprise. Now take your brother-in-law, believing that would be loyal to you to death because of it's a joint enterprise, because you all have looted. Now we have senior security officers who are multimillionaires in the Gambia. We have former and now multimillionaires in the Gambia, just as we have in other countries that have failed. Failed states, that's what they represent. How can civil servants be millionaires? The interior minister is a millionaire. The IG is a millionaire. And most of the people within the NP are millionaires. And why are Gambians poor? Why are Gambians suffering? All the issues we have to bring together. The people from Sukuta need to come out. The people from Lamin Minshawan, all those people that demolish their businesses, they need to come out. All these youths, they're victimizing. When the drug cartels are given a carte blanche to do whatever they want in our country. But our youths are incarcerated in mile 2 for society failing them. All these things are issues we need to bring onto the table. We need to organize, and we need to escalate. And we need to prioritize. Prioritize today is to ask for the release of all the people in state custody. Those kidnapped, they are not arrested. They are not arrested. We should understand the rule of law. We should understand the due process. You arrest someone for suspecting of the committed crime. They have not committed crime. They were not about to commission a crime. They were exercising their rights, which the police have come out. The police have come out to acknowledge. But I can tell you, be careful again. That's what they do, the security forces will do. That acknowledgement is not a fact to them. It's a way of destabilizing us. So that we can calm down. They should not hold anybody in the cells, not to talk of the limitation of the law. They have no reason to arrest them. No reason to incarcerate them. No reason to torture them. And we are hearing evidence that some of these people now started to be tortured. This is why the outrage should be out there. We unite, and I am calling out the People for the People platform. The People for the People platform. Now we are at a pivotal moment. It's enough is enough. Don't give any platform for Batambedu for his PR. Don't whitewash Batambedu. You cannot whitewash Batambedu. If you think you are whitewashing Batambedu, you are showing who you are. This is the time to show who we are. This is the time to show who we are. We have been using mechanisms to justify our callousness. Pointing out to tribalism, pointing out to political differences and everything else, which we all know is a lie. It's a mechanism used by politicians to divide us. We are not going to allow that. And I am calling the people for the people. If they are genuine patriotic citizens, if they are this is not the time to give the voice to people who are, subjugating us to poverty, to everything else, because of they are our friends. They know the people, anybody on the platform know that Bartender can be potentially be found guilty for all the crimes alleged against him. He is the architect. Bartender is the architect. Why give him a platform? The platform today, so everything should be about the people. And the people, if they about the people, and those people are our civil society and our people on the ground, and the people in the diaspora working in unison to bring about change. That's where it should be. Priority, as I said, to release everybody. Everybody. And we are going to, not only there, we are going to hold account to all the police officers and that have participated in committing a crime in the due process of arrest, of kidnapping these people, not arresting them, kidnapping them. We have to speak very clearly now. There's no ambiguity. We don't allow their narrative to be a narrative. We shouldn't allow the police statement. If the police were true to their statement, knowing that they have not committed a crime, why are they still held in custody? Why are they still held in custody? I'll come to that. Why we need to strategize for civil society to level up. Here, I am not saying that the politicians should not be. But for strategic reasons, we need to maintain the civil society as the center of gravity. That's, you see, it's difficult now for the government to communicate, because now they cannot accuse any political platform or any political leadership of manufacturing any form of instability. No, now they're on their back foot. Let's keep them on their back foot. The center of gravity should be the civil society. The center of gravity, that's why our strategy and everything is to support them. And the political structure should come out strategically to be part of the new awakening. We should work together. We cannot do it alone. Civil society cannot do it alone. Politicians cannot do it alone. And this is what they have been playing at. Now it's difficult for them to tribalize this. It's difficult for them to put a religion cover onto this. It's difficult for them to regionalize it or anything. That's why we need to strategize. As I said, I'm calling out any Gambian, all the Gambians to play their role as much they can. And we need to support the Gala, the movement, and widen it. And all the other genuine activists, all the other genuine civil society movements on the ground, let them come in and march in to build a big umbrella of civil society, to stand with. Let all the political, opposition, I mean the meaningful political opposition, there can be no infiltrators in this. If any infiltrators, you will stand out like a sore thumb. We have dealt with the dictator. We will use our intelligence. We will use everything to identify. And Gambia, everything will be recorded. Let's all the movements come together and gravitate towards what have started now. We have to throw our support and keep this momentum. We should not be divided in any form. That should not be divided in any form. As I said, there will be a leadership from the diaspora supporting the leadership on the ground, on the civil society. But every political party now will be more active today. And everywhere you have your movements and everything, come out from there. Come out from there. We have enough population in Western Division. We have enough population KMC to take on the seat of power. But we need to make sure every region in the Gambia would get out and make sure the way the police are putting our people in different police stations, we should act in different locations. We have to strike the police. We have to strike the police. We have to strike the police. And that's just a start. Because we want this to be peaceful as it comes. We can do that. We don't need any life to be lost. We don't need any property to be damaged. We don't need any disruption to any businesses or properties. But if the government escalates, we have to react to the government as it should be. But I can tell you, if we organize, the government cannot escalate this to anything. They will de-escalate, and this is the time that Gambia will bring about the change. Civil society have always been a unifying force. Civil society always been a unifying force, and now we have started to see that. Now this is where we need the politicians to come around and we build that movement that will bring us and put everything on the table for a meaningful change. We should call up for a draft constitution, 2020 draft to come in. We are not negotiating on that. We are demanding. We paid for that. We did everything, and for Barrow not wanting it. And do you know, even people around Barrow, they know that they are not right. Why should we shy away? Why should we be shy away? We will ask Barrow not to run for a third term. We will ask for IEC to be constituted right before we go for elections. That's why I mean a transition. We will demand the credibility of our democracy. We will demand the credibility of our institutions. And we will demand the police to restrain. Police to restrain. We demand it. And we are going to document anything that they do. Any police officer identified, we will document it. And we will make sure you will dealt with. And then the police officers should restrain. Let their families know that they should restrain. And any politician from the other side that incite violence on us, you are calling violence on yourself. Let's make it clear for them. Let's make it clear to them. Our people are not to be harmed. Our people are to be supported. Our security police should have the mandate. The mandate they have is to secure our people to exercise their right, fundamental rights. Accountability should be in the process. That's another level that we have to work on. We have to hold everybody accountable. And that's the reason, the respect I have for the people on for the host of the people on the people for the people on the people. I started on that to hold them accountable. This is not the time to give any platform to Batambedu to whitewash his image. It's the only time for our platform now is to fight for a meaningful change, not for any political party interest, but for national interest. If we go through the process and be accountable to that process, then Gambians will have their say. And do you know what? This movement should not be going away. Regardless of who comes into government, civil society is an integral part of what makes us a progressive nation. We should keep it there to be the part of the check and balance. We should keep it there to be part of the check and balance because it will unify us. All these phony civil society groups, all these phony religious councils, all these phony elderly councils, all these phony tribal councils, they don't represent any of us. But the broad base of civil society represents all of us. We identify ourselves in all of them, and they are standing for our interests. That's why we are supporting them. Accountability would ensure, and we make sure we achieve our long-term goals. Guys, Gambia, we are smart, we are sensible. Why go out and just to make sure these people to baffle? If we come out organized, we come out in numbers, the police would be held accountable. And we communicate to the police, clearly that we are documenting and everything, not only things that we have seen physically out there, and things are happening behind the scenes. Because we will make sure the police officers that are loyal to the people will be speaking to us and will document it. And this time round, there's no nonsensical TRRC to take place. We are going to take them straight to the courts and prosecute them. We are seeing the example in Senegal. We are going to take off any immunity on anybody that kill us. And it's clear, we are a signatory to the UN conventions and human rights and everything else. You cannot indemnify a mother. You cannot indemnify torture. You cannot indemnify any of this. Now, if we speak clearly right now, if we stand in solidarity right now, we have enough issues. Entire Gambia is engaged. We will prevail without any life being lost. That's why we are not calling out people because of, we know that, no, they are fundamental rights. We can disarm this government. That's why we will go into detail. We are cautioning Another strategy is to make sure it's clear. People who are in political office, make sure they are part of our family, extended or whatever it is. Let them be cautioned that we are going to document. These politicians or so-called political hacks that are only into politics or into following Barrow because of they want to live a life, they don't have the potentials to live that life. They want to be beggars, they want to be thieves, they want to be slaves to people that they don't even believe. None of those people. Dr. Cisse doesn't believe in Barrow, we know that. There's nobody around Barrow that believes in Barrow. But they see it as an opportunity. They are opportunities. It's easy to pull the carpet underneath. We should make sure we tell them that their political statements are going to be recorded. Any political statement that insinuate, any political statement that have incited for police or the authorities to use violence on us is going to be documented. And we will go after them. We go after them. The police officers, be it senior, junior, there's nothing as I am obeying command. The commands are unlawful, and the police have even tell you the commands will be unlawful, and whoever committed a crime, followed a command that is unlawful is committing a crime. Let's make that clear, and we have to advocate for that. And let their families, their wives, brothers, and us to tell them. Because when it comes to accountability, we are not going to have mercy this time around. We are not going to relent. We have to make sure we have that accountability. It's going to be a process, and we're going to achieve that. And on a final note, I want to keep it brief. These are just talking points. And to keep the Gambians, especially people in the diaspora, and people, Gambians sitting on the fence, or Gambians not knowing where to go to start to think. We have to now to program our mindsets to know that it's not about here, now it's about manufacturing. We have an opportunity to lose it. Gambia, part of this strategy today, should be civil society, should be the political actors coming together and release a statement and send a red alert to Senegal. What do I mean sending a red alert to Senegal? Civil society have a mandate to bring out a statement. That's why I said we need to organize and support. These are so many things that we need to do. So many things. For us in the diaspora, we have so many things to do. We are trying to bring up the civil society in the diaspora to start to mobilize for resources. It's needed to support them. But not only resources. Because we are identifying, we are making sure this organized on the ground, make sure everything is accountable. But again, we are here again to support with exchanging ideas, strategy and ideas with it on the ground, and do things that we can do, advocate on social media, advocate different platforms, and to make sure they have the support. And yes, that's where I'm coming from. The civil society today, by Monday, should have a red alert sent to the Senegalese embassy. They should march to the Senegalese embassy to give a red alert to Senegal, to remind them of where we are today. The Senegalese government is very conscious. They know what the trajectory we are going through. They have gone through that to be where they are. They are more sympathetic to us. There's nothing like ECOWAS. Get rid of ECOWAS. There's nothing like ECOWAS. If ECOWAS had meant anything, Bissau would not be without election today. But they are mute. If Senegal have rested, waiting for ECOWAS, Macky Sall would still be there. And people will be killed, and looting will continue accountability. If ECOWAS meant something, Ouattara would not be allowed to be disqualifying politicians, credible politicians, in order to run alone for the fourth time. If ECOWAS means anything, Freetown should not be in the dynamo it is now, not knowing how to go forward. It is our responsibility. But we have partnership with Senegal. It's a strategic. I can tell you that. There's no strategist can tell you that you can neglect or ignore with approaching Senegal. The economic we talk of on the ground is the core is Senegal. If you have the buying of Senegal, you have the buying of everything. And Barrow have to know that. The minute we give a red alert to Senegal, say that if you witness and let this Barrow government go on killing ourselves, our people, then, where is your moral courage? This is not diplomatic, but I say people who that will be writing to the Senegalese government will know the diplomatic language to put, but essentially this is what we say. The political parties, this is an opportunity today, genuine political parties now to sit on the table and to work together. This is not about anyone trying to outshine the other. No, we have not get to that. That is a mandate that the people are going to give. What we asking for today from political parties is the leadership. Come out together, sit down, and start to address the issues that we expect you to address. Give support to the youths, make sure they are safe out there. And release, don't hold on to any militant to think any other way, but to think for the national interest and bring about the change. We go through the transition, bring about reforms in a short time, and make sure we have a level playing field, and whatever comes out of the ballot box, we will respect and we progress. And we stop this dictatorship going further. A red alert should be sent to Senegal by diplomatic things, but the protesters should organize a group that will go respectfully on Monday at the Senegalese High Commission to deliver a petition. These are the ways we have to do it. There is no world order right now. I can tell you there's no world order right now. Trump have just put everything out. Turkey is not our ally. China is not our ally. They are spending all this soft diplomacy, taking our social influencers, media influencers, taking our journalists to them. They are doing it to rob us. They are coming to colonize us just as the West colonized us. Let us be clued up. Let us be clued up. Now our strategic ally is Senegal. All these other embassies and anything else, they are there for their national interest. Turkey is going to buy everything that we own as our state asset, and we will colonize by Turkey. Go and learn what's happening in other countries they have infiltrated. China is going to do the same thing. India is going to do the same thing. This is the time to regain our independence. Guys, I just wanted to keep it brief. As I said, these are talking points, and the reason we bringing out these talking points, we want to concentrate on the ground. We want to concentrate behind the scenes to give the support. We just want to mobilize and advocate for the movement to go on. Thank you very much, guys. All the people that believe that they have something that they can do, go out there and do it. Join things together. We are only strong standing together. Divided we fall. The government is at the weakest. That's now we can bring about the meaningful change. The people that their properties have been seized, property has been demolished, and every form of injustice is now. This is civil society to front. Now the politicians should come and strategize to call up for the 2020 draft, to call up for a transition, to make sure we have credible IEC and get rid of every funny things within the IEC for credible elections. And Barrow have to stop. Barrow have to come down. This is the opportunity. Every revolution or every movement, every revolution started this way by civil society being in the middle. And civil society should not move out for any political interest. This is civil society continue neutral. They have a platform. They have to play to the process, to our final goals of seeing the Gambia that we want. Thank you very much, guys.
Done. But the important thing is to look at the people that are involved and what they have told us to thus far, and specifically Batambedo. It's important that people are very, very much, looking at these issues chronologically and being analytical around them. Now, Ba has conducted an interview with West Coast Radio, and having listened to that, interview, it came out very clear that Batambedo is very complicit and very criminal-minded when it comes to dealing with issues that have to do with the Gambia. First, Ba was asked about the appointment of Alhaji Mamadi Kurang. Now, Ba did not say that the appointments in the commission were based on competence and openly done among all Gambians who might be qualified in one way or another to either apply or to be recommended. But Ba said they picked people they wanted. You pick people you wanted simply because Alhaji Mamadi Kurang was your head boy at school. You know him and you personally, recommended or picked him, right? That is how jobs were given to people in the Gambia. That is how you run the government. Now, while you were saying that, you did not think at the back of your mind that there are 1,000 or more Alhaji Mamadi Kurangs in the Gambia who might be interested in that job, who are as competent as he is, who might be not conflicted as as you consider people who are not partisan. And then we have a lot of people who are not partisan in the Gambia who are competent just like Alhaji Mamadi Kurang. But that tells already that the way you picked him was not even following due process of how, people need to be appointed into commissions in the Gambia. So you were just taking people based on hamnala, hamantanañ, hamna ki mun nay def liggéey bi ma jël ko comme nu ma neexee. So there were no standard operational procedures put in place as per who and how we are going to get people for the commission. So the recruitment was based on yen lu len neex. Ba lolou la doon wax démba di that he personally, knowing Mamadi Kurang being his head boy at high school, know that he is able to do this job, he had personally recommended him because they wanted people who were not partisan. So that means picking people in the first place into the commission was not based on, principle, was based on ko xam ne yow koku mo la neex nga jël ko dugal ko ci commission bi kon ba yow non nga don doxale. But funnily, Batambedu, you told us that when there was a problem among these commissioners, and Alhaji Mamadi Kurang as well as the lead counsel, that means the government of the Gambia did not investigate this matter, but instead what you did was to call the commissioners to your office and all they told you that we cannot work with Mamadi Kurang. Now you call Kurang to actually provide evidence when you should have investigated, and you said he was unable to give you tangible evidence. But in issues like this where people are alleging that there are things happening within the commission, you think those commissioners and those councils, top lawyers, would allow Mamadi Kurang to have tangible evidence to present to you? Hell no. And you know that was not possible, Batambedu. But what did you do? You also called the lead counsel to ask her about Mamadi Kurang. She said she can no longer work with him. And that is the basis of your investigation and the reason why you sacked Alhaji Mamadi Kurang. Did you investigate the matter that Mamadi Kurang had brought to the government that something was fundamentally wrong within the commission? No. You solely relied on the opinion of those people within the commission whom you criminally connived to actually loot the country. Ba, ñun ay dof dekuñu fi. First, your appointments into the commission were all rubbish. On top of it, you picked Alhaji Mamadi Kurang because he was your head boy. Now you connive with those commissioners to come to your office and tell you we can no longer work with him because he's actually exposing criminality within the commission that they did not like, as well as the council did not like that. And then you wrote to the president, tell him, let's fire him. Because I had asked him to resign voluntarily, and he said no. Yo, ba da nga warona wa Mamadi Kurang mu resign voluntarily. Yow boo xamee ne dëgga Mamadi Kurang lu mu doon wax du dëgga daf doon tuumal ñooñu daf lan doon fenal yow yaa ko waroon a daxa kon yow xam nga ne loolan doon def loolu jaarut yoon. And that is why you had to beg the man to resign nga naan I wanted to protect his whatever. That is nonsense, absolute nonsense. So Batambedu is a very dirty and a conflicted politician in this case. I wouldn't call that person a lawyer because you don't deserve to be one because you're a criminal. Now, if there is something else to be said, Batambedu, you and those commissioners plus the council knew that these people were selling cattle for $11,000. You knew they were selling vehicles for $10,000, $5,000, $10,000. So you felt that was okay. That was very normal. And Mamadi Kurang saying that something is fundamentally going wrong in this commission, you connive with these commissioners to come to your office so that they can say that we can no longer work with a man who was genuinely telling you that something was fundamentally wrong in the commission. And by you have the guts to come to West Coast Radio and say, because he was my head boy, I actually identified him. That means the identification of personnel to work in that commission was not done rightly. And that is why you had to remove Augustus Prom, put in your girlfriend and her company, so that you can later marry her and benefit from the millions. Yo, lolo rek nga fi def. Kon yo amo lo wax Gambia. And then you see how criminal-minded some of these lawyers can be. He told us that no, he did not personally benefit. You did not personally benefit in a sense that your name will not appear on the list of beneficiaries. But you picked your girlfriend's company, gave them this big amount of a contract when this company was only registered in 2017. Now that you actually got all the money into your girlfriend's company, whatever, you turn around and marry her. So how are you not criminal-minded? How are you not a beneficiary in this case? You used your office, you abused your office to be able to do that. So that is clear abuse of office. That is clear manipulation of the system to profit through through a third party. It's just like just like the report said, the buyers were the sellers, because you cannot tell us that, oh, you did not benefit directly. Now, these are things that keep happening in the Gambia. Da nga gis project mu am, ngeen wara jënd ay bagage, nga yow nga dem jënd bagage yoyu nonu nga jëkko saraka nga ko demal register a business, be the person who is actually selling this bagage. On top of it, yow nga jokko contract bi pour yow yeen ngeen jëm jënd bagage yoyu nonu yep from your brother. At the end of the day, you go back and share the money. That is exactly what you did. You picked your girlfriend's company, not that you actually, kind of publish this for different companies to bid or whoever is interested. You handpick this company. And then you tell us, I don't know, Alpha, whatever, Alpha, Dugana Figin, Nafale, I don't know this person. But how comes you did not know these people and you have no affiliation with them, but all of a sudden you pick them out of the blue? Yo, I dof ngay waxal. Yen kon ñi ngeen doon doxale suñu réew mi. Ne nit mun na jënd moto for 10,000. Boy, man war naa mun a jënd moto tayi de. Ay Land Cruiser, boy. Ay nakala, ay kavanya de. Pickup trucks that people were buying for 5,000, you call them scrap? Nyun fam na Yaya Jammeh does not deal in scraps. We know that guy's insatiable desire for luxurious vehicles. So you cannot turn around and make it look like you're an innocent person. That is why if you now connect your interview in West Coast Radio and of course the report, now one can tell how criminal-minded Batambedu is. Why Batambedu mo neka nit ko hamantani. He took a case that the Ministry of Justice had the ability, the capacity, and the personnel to prosecute it. He removed it from justice, gave it to his biological brother. What did his biological brother do? He was being paid a lot of money from state coffers. The people he was prosecuting, including Yanku Babaji, would turn around trying to sleep with Yanku Babaji's wife. But Batambedu, you know this woman, Binta whatever, since 2010, you were doing some business or whatever, but you know they never had a company that has to do with this financial whatever. But you know that this was coming. You asked them to register this company in 2017. Shortly after that, you gave them the contract. And then you later turn around and marry Binta. And you want to tell us that you know nothing about it. You don't even know Alpha, Nakala, Dugana Figin, Nafale. Look, we all understand how the system works. If I have a new project and I know I need to do procurement of, maybe, thousands and thousands of dollars of something that I know one can easily have, I could ask a close associate, go and register this particular business because I have a project that has to deal with this kind of a thing and I will come to you to do this because hamga, I kumpulo fala de dohe. Nini dofunyo. Diana fi njeke nguru. So Batambedu is a notorious criminal by all standings, who definitely needed to be arrested immediately and of course prosecuted for all the wrongdoings in government. Why do Momrek? I saw the names of like Nyom Muntaha Sala and other people. This is somebody I know personally. Why man musuma fang why come ni lañ de xam nga xam ne pago yi ni ay say lañ ay bandi lañ, but I never thought that people can be this wicked to their own country. That you can sell 725 cattle for just 8,302,000. 8,302,000. That means every head of cattle costed 11,000. Can fancy Gambia ngay jëndé nag full nag 11,000. Em xar bu ko rek sa ken jëndé ko 11,000, let alone nag. What's really going on? So Batambedu's complicity is not just to say that he personally bought assets from Jammeh. They indirectly did all these manipulations and fabrications to kick out Mamadi Kurang, who was telling them that something was fundamentally wrong, simply and squarely on the basis that the commissioner said they cannot work with him. But why didn't Batambedu ask the commissioners, why can't you work with him? Or it was a trust issue. But what exactly brought about the trust issue? Was Mamadi Kurang saying something fundamentally true, which is very clear to every Gambian today that Mamadi Kurang was very right about everything he was saying about that commission. So the commission was more or less a bunch of criminals who were gathered to actually defraud the country. And that's exactly what you people did. So Batambedu coming to the media, trying to make himself look like, oh no, these people they were biased against me here and there. I think the investigation did a thorough job. Let's come to the analysis of how they actually got the court decision to actually go about the sales of some of these assets. I don't refer to them as Jammeh's assets. I refer to them as Gambians' assets. Because already I'm not sure, because they did not even forfeit them from Jammeh, which legally was wrong to actually go about selling them. And this was exactly the ball of contention from the other judge. Now, you went to a judge, and the judge told you that the party that we are actually dealing with this did not come to court, and there is no forfeiture of this particular asset. Therefore, going about selling them would be legally wrong. But what did Batambedu do? Now, you can also now connect the dots here. Batambedu, knowing fully well that the judge is not going to give him the decision he wants, landed assets are not perishable goods that are going to get spoiled within days or so. They are not things that are landed assets, are not things that are actually, let's say, they are depreciating in value in a moment. No, land appreciates in value at all times. So there was no urgency. There was no immediate need for a vacation judge to preside over that matter. And they know very well that they could have appealed the decision of the judge, but they know they will never get the judgment they wanted, because the judge was very explicitly clear and legally within the laws to tell you that you cannot do this particular thing because that is not what is within the laws. Now, Ba, knowing fully well that he cannot do that, but Ba said the government needed, as a matter of urgency, to go about that business. So if the government of the Gambia needed to sell some of those, landed assets for the OIC akluwa ban mo gena am solo. So that means you have to go against the law for the OIC. Why bude manako defrengana, I went against the law, I got to go to prison. Let's bring into perspective. We cannot just blame Ba while we leave the Chief Justice outside. No. The Chief Justice knew very well that this particular case was already before another judge and a judgment was delivered. And if the government needed to really appeal that decision, they still can appeal and go to court again. But the government deliberately did not appeal that case. They brought in a fresh case and took it to the same Chief Justice. And this Chief Justice deliberately gave it to a different judge. And this judge, being an anti-Yaya Jammeh judge, who is basically not even a judge, is an anti-Jammeh activist, who is very criminal-minded, just like Batambedu, who will do everything for Batambedu, went ahead and gave Batambedu the judgment he needed. So Batambedu, the Chief Justice, and Jete are all criminally liable in this case. Jete cannot tell us that, oh, it's travesty of justice. It was masterminded by Jete himself, because Jete cannot tell us that he did not do his due diligence to understand that this is a new case brought to his chambers, and that it was not a case before another judge within the same setup. That means record files. That is why when you go to court, you meet files of 1920, 1930, so that the same case is not brought again, and then somebody is still presiding over a case that has already been presided over. So that means Jeta did not know his job if he tells us that, oh no, he was blindfolded. Who blindfolded him? Nobody blindfolded him. It was the same Batambedu that told us that when Yankuba Ture refused to speak to the commission, that he was going to set an example. And who set the example for him? This same Jete. So koku du muna jokte munane no, they blindfolded my whatever thing, man how ma on the nilam for them. How ma is too much of a very cheap, Oh guys, give me a second. Let me come on, Khadija. What you want? What's your mommy now? Come on. Oh, sorry about that. So in short, Batambedu knew very well that that judge, the lady, was never going to give him what he wanted. And to get what he wants, he definitely need to go underground to ensure that I'm going to bring back this case as a new case because there are new substances to it. And then the Chief Justice, please don't give it back to the same lady. Give it to another judge who will do what I want. And then the person who always does what I want is basically Jete. And Jete has proven time without number that he does exactly what Batambedu wants. So he cannot kind of try to put himself aside and say, oh, you know what, they blindfolded my whatever. If they blindfolded you, does the Chief Justice want to tell us that he never knew that there was this case before a jurisdiction within that has already given a judgment on this particular case, and that it is being brought back to him again, and then he gave it to another judge? So the Chief Justice is completely complicit in this case. So we cannot talk about bar and leave them because these people work as a criminal network of folks whom we think, we give a lot of responsibility to in our government. Kon anywa handed digger. Irrespective of whatever position and respect somebody deserves in society, we got to tell the truth to each other. Because man musuma diga si aduna fen kuy jaay moto 10,000. Even if it is complete scrap. Even if it is complete scrap. Wait, come nekodo. Hani nekodo from nekodo moto ibuka wa 10,000 wala 5,000. That's impossible. So Batambedu is completely, cannot be innocent in this case. And getting Nyom Emmanuel Juve and some of these folks, Emil and whatever, involved and trying to incinerate the guy or trying to make sure that they put the guy aside. You cannot cleanse a dirty, filthy guy. And then it's high time that the Gambians even write to the ICJ that this guy is a thief, he's incompetent, he is basically a man notorious for abuse of office and abuse of authority and abuse of process. Because you def kay, you alali rew mi ngeen diego diko patchwe ni diko jaay ay 5,000. Imagine, I don't even get it. Yen ay kudu yep ngeen don jaay boy. Why nguur gi mo bon. And then when you look at it, let me come back to the police. Like, I know at some point I am very much, I would say I am very much biased towards the police. Sometimes I don't give them, the credit or whatever. Simply because I know very well that the police are primarily, in a way or another, responsible for the killing of their own men. And that being a different case from what is going on, I'll put that one aside and we'll look at this particular one specifically. If you go down and you meet folks wanting to protest, they did not even start a protest yet. They did not even start any procession. You met them sitting down. You arrested all of them. Now, if you are going to actually take these boys to court, what would you say is the charge? You did not meet them protesting. You only met them sitting down and then you just arrest them. So, do you arrest people for meeting them sitting down? Then say, hell moy dohal dika. Do I yifi dole at, look and hamu. You don't do that. You deny these people permit. You actually arrested a couple of folks in the morning, arrested another crew later in the day. But yesterday you couldn't do that. You were defied and defeated. That compromises your integrity as an institution. That tells you that you do not have the credibility to run our affairs. I've been telling you that the Gambia Police Force have long lost credibility since the killing of its own men. Why, man, I don't blame the men and women in uniform. It's the leadership that I blame, because the leadership was the one that came out to lie about the killing of the cops. And now every other incident that happens in the Gambia, people don't respect the men and women in uniform simply because you people long lost your credibility. Police, you know, been a season Facebook, different been the politic. Wala ñu dimbali. Yen mëno la ñoo dimbali. People cannot just the fact of the matter is, young nigga police looking at is not even up to $20,000. Somebody is actually buying a car for like, better 10,000. On top of it, the same people want to use you for whatever reason. Because boy, lu ñoo xex. Ñun ñepp ci bokka di. Yo police nga yange sol uniform or whatever, Gambia bu ñoo sona ñun ñepp ko nekk di yegandor. So you all know what exactly is going on. So Batambedu, in a sense, cannot come to West Coast Radio, go to Star FM, go to all these media houses. You can give him maximum platform as you need. But you basically know that you cannot clean that man because that man is filthy dirty. Just like his brother. He was a jahang a million Gambian, and on top of that, you want to tell people, oh, I'm innocent, I did not take anything personally, it followed due process. Due process moy gender moto 10,000. Lolo moy due process here. Oh yeah, the commissioner said they cannot work with Alaji Mamadi Kurang, and I had to force him to leave, or I had to tell the president, we fire him. You fire him simply because he was telling the truth. Kon yen bugulen dega yen nonu ngeen don doxale rew mi. On top of it, you use this JT, whom people will refer to as no nonsense George, ki mo gëna nonsensical si George yeb Gambia. Wait, mfrara tembo to me alonko momenta sila mola jana. We will tell you the truth just as plain and as simple as it is. Most of you are just criminal minded, including some of your permanent secretaries who were buying IJMS sofas for I bena 10, 15,000, I bena 12. Imagine tractors for 100,000. A tractor might cost $45,000. That's almost $3 million and above. IKMC, IBCC, yenangi to yenangen ay tractor ay 100,000.
Dr. Sambu?
Même golf sa golf, ken du ko jëndé 100,000. Let alone tractor. You took these tractors from Gambian farmers and then you went to sell it among yourself for 100,000. You're not bonsi dekabi. And then you people still have the guts to come out and tell anything to people. And when I see even in the protest, you see people from these councils coming to say anything. Can you say anything to the Gambian? Because if you even have, gods and you have that Yerman de pur Gambian, you don't get a tractor for $100,000. Because you know basically that a tractor worth 25 times more than that. Tractor boy jar for let's say 3 to 4 million. You nga jende ko bena $100,000. Yo lo do ñu buga wax. Bala may diga ñang I bought James assets to foreclosure. Ismail, I remember probably you had slapped me when I was a kid, so I will come and buy your house for $25, and then that's foreclosure. That's basically, imagine somebody you said tortured and killed and did all kind of wrongs to your people, but you can still buy his vehicle at a very, very cheap price, and then you refer to that as closure. No, the one for some closure. That every day you wake up and you see a vehicle belonging to Jammeh in your house is reminding you of all the bad things you would have been accusing him, but you refer to that as closure. That is how closure is in your part of the world. You see how criminal-minded most of these folks are? So, hey, you might have to adjust up your volume. I can't hear you well. You want to add something to the discussions?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me now.
I still can't hear you clearly, though. Oh, I lost you. So I could buy a vehicle for less than 100 or probably 200,000. That would have been costing 4 or 5 million. And then, oh yeah, I bought that from a third party and I bought it for closure. What kind of closure? Somebody who probably did all the wrongs to my family. I will never need anything from you. I will never buy any material that belongs to you to remind me and remind my family of all the terrible things you would have done to us. So I'm buying Nahantebi, I'm buying Feni. We got to be very clear to each other, and then now let's come to the lands around Brufut Heights. On lands you actually took them back, but what did you do? You share them among your ministers. You come to people's community. You said Jammeh actually dispossessed this community of their lands. You actually took back these lands. But what did you do? You reshare it among your ministers. None of your ministers is from Brufut, but all of your ministers and then those senior top government officials at the time, all were given plots in Brufut. Free plots, not that they were even buying it. Free plots. And I know it's high time that we go to Brufut Heights and see Minister Bufa Sampa ñu taal ndey sa kër ñu jël ko ñun ñoko mom sen bayi momuñ ko sen yaay momuñ ko. Go to your villages and take your lands there. That is where we've got to with these people, because me is like all the things Jammeh was doing was all bad. You are there to come and correct that, but then you become more disgusting and more terrible as a regime. But then that is basically what has been happening. If the government or if the president can justify that it's very okay for him to be giving land, or he is a private citizen and can request land, why president be so request a land? The lands minister have any right to say the president, no, I will not give you the land? Who appoints the land minister? Who can be fired and hired at any time without any explanation? So the president himself actually asking for land from somebody he hires and can fire without any explanation is in itself abuse of office and abuse of power. But it doesn't matter if the president wants just a single land somewhere in Bakau. I don't mind that. But why will the president come to Brufut, share all the lands among his ministers? On top of it, the National Assembly goes to Yundum. You send land among yourself. What kind of a system do we have? Not the executive, not the legislature, and not the judiciary. Is all disgusting. The judiciary actually masterminded all these sales of Jammeh's assets because they put up a commission and then they went to court. The court denied them what they wanted. They used another judge to get what they wanted and they went ahead. How can the judiciary be innocent? How can the Ministry of Justice be innocent? How can the Gambia government be innocent? And then you still go to people's communities and then sharing lands and giving it among your ministers for free. Joge wuñ suñ dëkka seen yaay joge wuñ foofu noonu seen mamati maam joge wuñ foofu ñu moom dëkk bi ñu moom lands yooyu noonu. You dispossess them of their land, you send them homeless, increase gentrification in our community, displacement and all kind of negativity that you could actually associate to housing. And then you people come and you will build your story buildings in our communities, and then you push us all down to the deep down into the furrows, because yena am dole, yena am nguur, lu leen neex ngeen di def, noonu ngeen di doxalee réew. And then that is why you people never wanted to bring out this list, because list boo xamante ne boo xoolee nit nga ne ko mu ngee jënd moto ay benn 5,000, yow moto 5,000 foo ko mus a gis, booy pass pour dem base sax mun naa am ëpp na 5,000 ba di ko jëndee moto 5,000, yow loolu foo ko mus a gis si àdduna fa to mo kanya kabir dunia baya wulu jumal ne omoy kamoto sam 5,000 yen lolo ngeen do xale rew. And then you said Alaji Mamadi Kurang has no right to speak about the wrongs that were happening in the commission, because the commissioners do not trust him anymore, because the commissioners believe that it was very normal to sell a vehicle for $5,000. And these were commissioners being paid a hell lot of money from the taxpayers' money. Alko nyino mto nyati. And lingen gom na nyinyi waronyo wax dara si deka bi, like, okay, young people come out to say, you know what, we have a document to present to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. He said, no, you will not do that here. It's not dega. You will get to a point that if you want to screw people, they will buy screwdrivers and unscrew themselves. Nobody will screw Gambians anymore. You cannot put people in a box. We've passed that stage of putting people in a box. People got to tell you the truth. What you people did with all these assets that belongs to the country was complete pure rubbish. Open the theft and don't the fufu. Ikamera ko yeba gasol dan yebe jurumay ko sa nga fufu ren dol dam mallo momo min diata ya cheka na yebor. That is exactly what you people were doing. So this government does not deserve anything in that country, including some of its ministers and close associates. And then bohole gender kati they have categories. There are a class of people and associates of the government who are actually buying the bulk of the material. It is not that they are the only people who have the money or have the purchasing power or has the ability to buy it. No, it's because of the nature and the ways in which they actually put up the sales of these materials. It's only the sons and the daughters of chiefs and people who are influential in government who will go to school and who will get scholarships to go to England and the United States. But the few among the poor who in any way would have tried exceptionally well to actually get to high school might actually end up in Nigeria or probably Obafemi or somewhere else. One thing you know clearly, affair B, it was more like nepotism, favoritism, mbokanization, ñoo xamantene melni sen baya mom deka bi. It's biological inheritance that people, it's like a reflection of the PPP regime. But of course that is basically what we have. The folks that started this government were, some of them were ministers and sons and daughters of folks from the PPP regime. The regime that actually lives that flamboyant lifestyle and of course stealing whatever from the Gambian people, just like Jammeh came and did. And you said everything about Jammeh was so wrong, that the guy was